Good afternoon and welcome to Lariat TV News Today. I'm Meredith Aldis.
And I'm Kennedy Dendy. Thanks for joining us.
Dutton Avenue parking garage was closed suddenly on Tuesday and faculty and staff had to be evacuated. LTVN's Christy Soto was on the scene and tells us what happened.
Construction crews struck a natural gas line outside of Dutton parking garage on campus around 10:30 this morning. Baylor police, firefighters, and Atmos Energy Gas Company responded to the scene. Faculty was evacuated from the first floor offices in the garage for precautionary measures. While they assessed the situation, people were not allowed to enter the parking garage but were welcome to leave. As of noon today, Atmos was able to cap the line and all facilities have returned to normal. Reporting for Lariat TV News Today, I'm Christy Soto.
That City of Waco main water line burst about 3:45 in the afternoon southeast of that parking area. Crews had to locate electricity and gas lines before they could dig to find the cause of the leak. Water was turned off at Heritage House and the Casslaw Communications Building in order to make repairs. Service was restored this morning.
The Baylor community is mourning the death of a student who died in a plane crash over spring break. Sophomore Robert Christopher Marshall of Bruni, Texas, died Thursday after his plane crashed at the Laredo International Airport. Marshall and another passenger, Dr. Kel David Hine, were pronounced dead at the scene. On Monday, the university sent out an email to community members announcing the news and offering support to those affected by the student's death through the Office of Spiritual Life and Counseling Center. Marshall transferred to Baylor this spring semester and studied aviation sciences. Baylor said it hopes people will offer their thoughts and prayers to those affected by his death.
The Baylor community is mourning the loss of an icon. 92-year-old Irvin Davis died last Friday after 56 years of cutting hair at the Sub on campus. The Baylor Line Foundation honored him recently, putting together their conversation with the man known to many as the Baylor Barber.
A long time ago, my daddy wore one of those old-fashioned haircuts where you shave the neck once a week and get a haircut about every 2 months. When I was about 12 years old, I started shaving my daddy's neck with a straight razor. There's something about the straight razor that fascinated me, and it is still my favorite tool. I love a straight razor. Well, I grew up about 60 miles west of here, at the other side of Gatesville, on a farm. People were very poor, and it was during the Depression. My daddy lost his farm, like many others did, because he couldn't make payments. People were very poor, but didn't know it, but very happy too. You get a letter from the government. It's greetings. That's the way it started. Greetings. You're getting ready to get drafted. So Roosevelt was president at that time. If twins wanted to stay together, they kept them together, which we did. And we ended up as a bazooka team. He loaded and I fired it. Right after the war, I went to barber school in Austin, and when I finished barber school, I came back. I'd been a barber about 6 years when I started at Baylor. Ms. Mathis gave me the job down there. That's a paid advertisement that she did for me to introduce me to the campus. You changed as the hair changed. When it was short, you cut it short, and when it got long, you cut it long, and then it went back to short again, so you just changed with it. If you didn't change with it, you'd starve out. Dr. White was the president. I lived Abner McCall, Dr. Reynolds, and now Judge Starr, and some of the big football players, Bill Glass, Don True. The day the shop closed, yeah. Well, they had a big reception for us. Well, a lot of people came, and but it was just celebrating us leaving. We'd be gone. I had some happy years in there. Great place to be. All the great people around you. You couldn't have had a better bunch of customers.
The Mayborn Museum is hosting an exhibit this week that will be all about using brain power. In conjunction with the Donna Allowance for Brain Initiatives, the museum will be celebrating Brain Awareness Week with a series of games and brain teasers for visitors to enjoy. The exhibit will be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this week, and the museum will host additional events as well. They include activities related to sleep science, color perception, and brain structure, and will be offered on a rotating schedule. The Brain Awareness Week exhibit is included in the general price of admission and is free to Baylor students and faculty until Sunday. Museum officials said they have already surpassed the 600 total visitors from last year, with 1,000 people coming to see the exhibit on Monday, its first day.
According to the BUPD crime log, Baylor and surrounding areas have had 167 reported crime cases since the beginning of the semester. 112 of those occurred on campus and 55 were off campus. The most frequent crimes overall were theft, burglaries, and alcohol-related cases. There were 45 reports of theft, 27 burglary cases, and 21 alcohol-related cases. Those included public intoxication, minor in possession, and minor of consumption. Out of the reports, 18 occurred on campus and 3 occurred off campus. If you see or hear a crime or anything suspicious, contact Baylor Police.
A Baylor graduate student traveled across the world to pursue her dream of becoming a conductor and composer. LTVN's Meredith Aldis tells us she is one of a kind.
Yoona Jong is originally from South Korea and is the only graduating conducting student in the Masters of Orchestral Conducting degree program at Baylor.
When I applied here and then took the audition, my mind was totally into Baylor because I saw the ensemble and then they sound really good and the professor was really supportive. So I was like, wow, this is totally my dream school.
Working in a language that is not your native language and leaving your home, fiance, and family to pursue a dream can be difficult, but she has acclimated beautifully.
And then in the orchestra, I think I'm just almost the only one international student. But the thing is, people are really friendly and nice. So I didn't feel any some difference between them. Even though I look different, they just treat me as a true person.
Her professor considers her a good combination of a lot of things. She's a fine musician, she has natural facility in moving her hands and expressing music through her hands, and is also a leader and has good people skills.
People skills are almost as important as the musical skills in being a conductor, so I think she represents the complete package.
Jong has come out of her shell musically and personally in the past 2 years at Baylor.
And even when I check my conducting video just 2 years before, I really couldn't finish it because I grew up so much.
She hopes to continue her education and receive a doctorate degree and gain more experience, but ultimately go back to South Korea and start an orchestra with a Christian mission. For LTVN Today, I'm Meredith Aldis.
There are a lot of great places to study on campus. We asked Baylor students what their favorite places are.
We have the results after this.
It's not just a school to me, it's home.
Home.
Everyone's there to help you and to see you succeed.
Challenging.
Challenging.
Like, I'm here, I can do this.
Friends.
Friendship.
Relationships.
There's people that know you and people that are there for you around every corner.
It's the shared experience. Rigorous.
Growth.
Transformative. Tradition.
Tradition.
Faith.
Faith.
I've loved every second of it. It's family.
It's home.
It's Baylor.
With midterms and finals just around the corner, sometimes warm weather is known to distract students from their studies, especially after spring break. There are plenty of sunny places around campus in Waco for studying. We asked students what their favorite study spots on campus were, and 36% of them said Armstrong Browning Library's Garden of Contentment is their go-to study spot. 32% preferred Cameron Park, with plenty of trees for setting up a hammock and fields for laying out a blanket and reading a book. Jones Library and Pinewood Coffee Bar were preferred by 22% and 10% of poll takers, respectively.
AT&T has a 5G network in the works, and that's good news for local residents because Waco is one of the 3 cities to receive this new technology. Dallas and Atlanta will also get a 5G broadband by the end of the year, which will mean a sizable increase in service speed for AT&T users. Baylor's Director of IT Servers and Networking Services, Bob Hartland, says this technology is supposed to be about 200 times faster than 4G. Dave Volter, the Assistant Vice President for Radio Technology and Strategy at AT&T, felt that Waco's convenient location and proximity to Baylor in the Magnolia silos make for an ideal broadband location.
The primaries are over in the state of Texas, and its candidates are on their way to the November general elections. Democrats came to the polls in higher numbers than in recent years, according to Dr. Patrick Flavin, an associate professor of political science at Baylor. Despite Republicans having 500,000 more votes than Democrats in the state Senate race, Flavin said there seems to be an enthusiasm gap between the parties this time around. Here's a list of the primary winners in key statewide races. Overall, the primary election produced more than 2.5 million votes in the race for the U.S. Senate seat now occupied by Ted Cruz. El Paso Representative Beto O'Rourke garnered 61.8% in the Democratic votes and will face Cruz in November election.
According to recent Baylor research, an individual's perceptions of God might influence their political views. Data from the survey shows that Democrats who perceive God to be more judgmental, dissociated from stern, tend to have far more conservative views on political issues regarding capital punishment, strong military, and strict punishment than other Democrats. In contrast, the survey says Republicans who view God as a kind and intimately involved entity often have a far more liberal perspective regarding economic justice issues. The researchers said there are common misconceptions regarding religion and political belief. For example, religiosity is often equated with conservatism. Likewise, a liberal point of view is often viewed as completely non-religious.
Some Baylor students are taking the initiative to make a positive impact before graduation. In its second semester as an official student organization, Baylor United for UNICEF is a club that connects students with the United Nations program headquartered in New York. UNICEF works to promote the rights and well-being of disadvantaged women and children in over 190 countries worldwide. Fort Worth senior Julieth Reyes represented Baylor's chapter of the club at the UNICEF USA Students Summit earlier this week in Washington, D.C. She listened to speakers, attended courses, and gained further knowledge regarding UNICEF and its goals. Reyes said about 500 students from all over the country attended to learn more about UNICEF and how they can help the United Nations program accomplish its goals.
You may not know their faces, but chances are you know their voices. The radio play-by-play voices of the Lady Bears have decided to retire after more than 2 decades covering games for the nationally ranked Baylor sports team. LTVN's Elizabeth Tharp has their story.
After 20 and 22 years of being the voices of the Lady Bears and covering more than 600 games each, Lori Fogelman and Rick May announced their retirement. It all started in 1996 when May decided to campaign for the play-by-play position and got the job. 2 short years later, Fogelman joined Rick's side as the color analyst and started a relationship that would last a lifetime.
You work with other people occasionally and things are well, they go well. But then when Laurie came in, it was just like, all right, this is it. This is the way it's supposed to be. So it was just perfect.
He allowed me to develop into a regular commentator, and I appreciate that about him. It's just, he is a total professional, and I just appreciate the way that he just allowed me to find my way.
From finishing each other's sentences to saying the same thing at the same time on air, Fogelman and May's relationship really is one in a million.
She says that I'm her radio husband, and she is certainly my radio wife, and that's about as close as you can get.
I found out Fogelman's pre-game rituals include a special pin that she tries to use for every game she covers, and along with her pin, Fogelman said she always has to sit on May's right side.
We haven't changed that at all.
When you're winning, you don't change anything.
The two were honored at the Lady Bears vs. Kansas game with the video and custom jerseys and said it was something cool they weren't expecting.
That's the last place we want to be, is on the middle of the floor. Because if we're there, something is truly wrong. But it was a real honor. It really was.
For both of them, commentating is unfortunately not their full-time jobs, so the two discussed retiring together.
As we finished up last year, we thought, well, let's go one more and see if we can't go out with a national championship. So that's what we're hoping for. That's what we're hoping for this time.
The two said they will definitely miss being the voices of the Lady Bears, but
I know next season, when we have season tickets for the Lady Bears, I will be sitting on his right side just because that is the way it's supposed to be, right?
We'll sit in the stands and commentate to each other.
There you go. For Lariat TV News Today, this is Elizabeth Tharp reporting.
Even though the men's basketball team missed out on a March Madness bid, they brought home a win last night in the first game of the NIT tournament.
We've got sports coming up next.
It's not just a school to me, it's home.
Home.
Everyone's there to help you and to see you succeed.
Challenging.
Challenging.
You're like, I'm here, I can do this.
Friends.
Friendship.
Relationships.
There's people that know you and people that are there for you around every corner.
It's the shared experience. Rigorous. Growth.
Transformative. Tradition.
Tradition.
Faith.
Faith.
I've loved every second of it. It's family.
It's home.
It's Baylor.
Baylor basketball started postseason play last night as a regional #1 seed in the National Invitation Tournament. LTVN's Branson Hardcastle has the story.
Baylor hosted Wagner in the opening round of the NIT Tuesday night, beating the Seahawks 80-59 behind senior guard Manu Lecomp's 24 points and 6 assists. The Bears jumped out to an early lead and never looked back.
I thought defensively to hold them to 29% was really good, and when we guard like that, that's when we win games. When we don't, then we're not so successful.
It's a good team, you know. Down 10, we just played till the end. We know we had to compete. That team was hungry. They want to win like we do, so we had to battle it out till the end.
I mean, Wagner was a good team, so getting a good win against them definitely feels good, especially after this weekend. But now we're looking forward. The team's even more motivated now, and we're just ready to take on whoever's next.
The Bears will stay at home for the next round of the NIT, where they will face either Nebraska or Mississippi State. Reporting for Lariat TV News Today, I'm Branson Hardcastle.
While Scott Drew's Bears did not get picked for the big dance, the Lady Bears did, and they are all set for their chance to make a run to the Final Four and win a national title. This was the Lady Bears' reaction when they found out on Monday night that they were the #2 seed in the Lexington region for the NCAA tournament.
What was my initial reaction? You're just excited. You're happy for Baylor University. Baylor's name is out there in a positive light again from the women's basketball program.
It's good to play at home at the beginning of the tournament, obviously, and just having our fans there would mean a lot to us, and having a home court advantage with the crowd and atmosphere. We're definitely looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll give y'all a show.
The Lady Bears will take on #15 Grambling State at the first round of the NCAA tournament this weekend here in Waco at the Ferrell Center. For Lariat TV News Today, this is Elizabeth Tharp reporting. The #1 Baylor acrobatics and tumbling team took down #7 Fairmont State Monday night at the Ferrell Center, claiming their 14th straight win. The Bears swept the mat in all events for the second time this season, along with earning their highest team event score this year and finishing with their highest final score of the year as well. This is the Bears' third time in the last 4 seasons to be 6-0. Baylor will look to continue its winning streak and carry on the momentum in its next meet against third-ranked Azusa Pacific this weekend at the Ferrell Center. Baylor baseball dropped a home game Tuesday night, losing to 22nd-ranked Sam Houston State 7-2. The loss snapped the Bears' longest winning streak of the season, and they now have to prepare for a conference play that starts this weekend.
We're feeling good. We really scrapped for those 2 runs. We didn't have a single hit, but we still got 2 runs out of it. So we're executing, but it's tough. Momentum's shift when we walk the first guy, but I mean, we gotta throw strikes.
Baylor will now prepare to take on 5th-ranked Texas Tech at the Baylor Ballpark for a 3-game series this weekend.
Tech's a very talented team, kind of very similar to Sam Houston State, an older club, a veteran club, a lot of returning guys from a very successful team last year. And the truth is, I explain this to our guys and everybody I talk to, our opponent is really irrelevant. We need to play great baseball. We need to eliminate the walks on the mound. We need to have really good at-bats. We need to play good defense. We do that, we'll compete with anybody in the country. For Lariat TV News Today, this is Elizabeth Tharp reporting. Baylor men's tennis team had a big match on Monday, and while the game was close, #24 Baylor pulled off the upset win over 11th-ranked Columbia 4-2.
Well, we're getting better.
You know, I think that's what's so gratifying is, you know, they beat us pretty good when we played them a month ago. So to see that we're getting better against a top team was really gratifying. You know, in singles, I thought, you know, we got off to a good start. You know, a lot of positives out there.
Sophomore Bjorn Peterson clinched the winning point for the Bears by beating the number 9 player in the country, Victor Pham. The Bears will travel to Indian Wells, California to compete in the BNP Paribas Open Collegiate Tennis Challenge later this week. And that's your sports update for today.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.